Hey, folks, welcome back. Another great episode today. Zooming in from Kitchener, Ontario. We've got a real estate entrepreneur. We've got a project manager. We've got a best-selling author, Mr. Emanuele. Michael, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Hey,
Greatly appreciated.
yeah, well, I'm excited to chat with you. Tell me a little bit about what got you into real estate in the first place. I understand you've got a bit of a background around that. So walk us through your real estate investing journey.
Yeah, so I don't want to, I'll give you the Coles Notes version.
Mhm.
But I got started in real estate investing shortly after leaving my full-time job. That is another story in itself. But once I made the decision to start something on my own, I actually came across a book that a lot of new entrepreneurs and investors came across, and that's Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yep.
And that really lit the fire on, I guess, what I haven't been doing and what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me interested and lit the fire of the passion for real estate investing.
So what did you start doing when it comes to real estate investing? What was your first deal and when was it?
Sure. Yeah. So the first move obviously was I just started learning a ton, absorbing everything, podcasts, read more books, started going to networking events. As far as the first deal that I got into, that actually happened earlier this year. So almost 2 years after I sort of started my journey, because I was focusing on business, things like that.
Yeah.
And what happened was I ran into a very experienced group of real estate investors, some here local to me in Kitchener, and just having built up a rapport with them, partnering with one of them here who's been an active real estate investor in Kitchener for several years. That's really what got me into the door. So just building trust and rapport, using my background as an architectural designer and project manager to be able to provide value and knowledge and a certain skill set that a lot of people don't possess. Right. That's really got my foot in the door. So we picked up.
To use Robert Kiyosaki's language, that was your unfair advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah. the first, what kind of deal did you first jump into? Was it a small project, single family home, or right into multifamily or commercial?
Single family homes. Yeah. My background as a project manager is in commercial construction, but I really like getting my hands dirty and being involved in the work itself. Not necessarily swinging a hammer, but just being able to go through the job site, talk to trades. So we invested in a single family home, converting it into a duplex and have the permit in place and some of the rough ends as part of that duplex conversion for a future garden suite.
Perfect. So you're doing kind of the perfect burr, plus you got a bonus suite that you could add, a unit that you could add on down the road.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if today, with today's numbers and interest rates, if you're going to hit a perfect burr, but definitely... Wow.
As close as we could get.
Exactly. Yeah. We're definitely adding some significant value to this property. And that should set us up well rent-wise in today's market over the long term.
So it sounds like you're partnering up with a couple of other experienced investors. You're bringing your skill set to the table, not just in management, but it sounds like you're actually getting your hands dirty and getting in there and doing some stuff as well. Moving ahead, what are the plans? Are you planning to do more of those kind of projects or what?
100%. So we just picked up another property that's actually going to be a flip.
Okay.
It's an older home construction, I think 1950s, and that closes the end of this month. And we're already done our walkthrough with the trades and are getting everything set up to hit the ground running on that one. So that'll be property number 2, which is exciting.
Excellent. Well, one of the things I love about what you're up to, Michael, is, it took you're an analytical person by nature. So you did a lot of learning and stuff like that, and then took action, which nothing wrong with that, because a lot less surprises when you do it that way. That's for sure.
Yes.
But what I really like as well is you're getting rolling with real estate investing, but you're not waiting until you've got decades of experience or a gazillion deals under your belt to start positioning yourself as an authority by being an author. So if I understand correctly, you've already got 2 books under your belt, one or more of which are already Amazon bestsellers. So walk me through that. What got you going with writing books? What are your books about? what are you doing with all of this? Because I find that
Yeah.
fascinating.
So what got me into writing both books, particularly the latest one that hit #1 bestseller in 4 different categories on Amazon Kindle store,
Mhm.
is wanting to help other investors. So this goes back to the whole education, doing different property tours with a bunch of different groups. What I found common amongst real estate investors is that there's a lot of questions towards the renovation and property rehab process. And that happens to be a skill set that I have. So there was one particular property tour that we were going on. It was last summer, so July of 2022. And some of the investors there were asking the contractor who was leading that property tour some specific questions. And I just had this bell go off in my head. Like, I know the answer to those questions. I can help.
Yeah.
And that really, I don't know what you want to call it.
It lit a
Just
fire under you.
sign from above, let's say.
Yeah. Inspired you.
Inspired me. And that's what carried me through to writing those books, is the desire to use the specific set of knowledge and skill that I have to be able to provide that information to investors who are looking to be, particularly the active investors who are getting the ones that are managing the renovations.
Okay, very, very
Yeah.
cool. So short period of time. I mean, most people take forever to write their first book. You cranked out your first book, weren't going to rest on your laurels, so you decided to crank out a second book, both of them being about rehabbing. Why 2 books? Why so close together? What's
So the first book that I published is called Rehabbing Your Way to Wealth. And that one is really a precursor that shows what beginner investors, the mistakes that they make. So it's more of a informative book on what not to do. And that sets up perfectly the second book, which is how to correct those mistakes. Exactly. And that's through a step-by-step process that will take them through everything from, they need to take ownership. We all need to take ownership when we're renovating a project, right? This is highly important. You can't just hand it off to a contractor and expect them to take it to the finish line. You still need to manage that process. Who you need on your team. It doesn't go into the specifics on how to find properties and those kinds of numbers and things like that, but it's more on the actual execution side. Exactly, right? There's plenty of other real estate investing coaches that can help on that part of the process. I'm more into the nuts and bolts of how do you find contractors, how do you vet contractors, how do you hire them, what do you want to look for in a contractor services agreement, terms and conditions, how to actually manage them, what red flags to look for, and the different sequences of construction, the very nitty-gritty nuanced stuff that nobody really thinks or talks about.
Yeah, nice. I like it a lot. So from a marketing perspective, Michael, what are your goals, or what are you planning to do with these books as authority builders? Because one of the big benefits of being an author is that it kind of instantaneously positions you as the go-to expert on that subject. So, I mean, Rehabber Secrets, that kind of rehabbing your way to wealth, that kind of positions Michael Emanuele as the rehabbing guy. What do you want to do with that platform you're creating for yourself?
Right. So first and foremost, I want investors, new and seasoned, to read it. That's number one. I want them to be able to learn from that information. As far as the outlook in the future, I would like to build a platform off of that, whether it's a series of workshops or mini courses or larger courses that people can follow, just like I did in the beginning of my real estate investing journey, to learn from and then apply. But taking it a step further than that, also provide services for consulting. So if they wanted to get their feet wet, but not fully jump into the pond, and wanted sort of a third party project manager to help them maybe provide, some additional insight, things that they haven't thought of, some guidance, some accountability over the course of a project. That way they have that confidence. They built up that they can build up that confidence by taking action, because that's the most important of anything, especially
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, is taking action, right? So it sort of eliminates that fear
Good. Well, I'm
of
glad
making a mistake.
I'm glad to hear that you've got a plan in mind for these books, because sometimes people, you know, write a book that's a passion project for them, which is okay. Typically, they don't get it anywhere near a bestseller status, and it just kind of, they get a whole bunch of copies printed, and they sit around in their garage gathering dust.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you've got some thought into this. Rehabber Secrets, that looks a little bit like, I like that whole idea. That reminds me of Russell Brunson's uh, .com secrets book, and different secrets type books like that. That's really smart.
It adds some mystery to what's
Yeah.
inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
No, that is good stuff. So yeah, there's so many different things that you can do with books, Michael. Um, as you're probably aware, you've got these up on Kindle. You're probably not looking to make $1 million by selling Amazon Kindle books, right? That's
No.
pretty difficult to do. So I always call a book a business card on steroids, right? So we also work with our clients. Some of our clients, we co-author a book with them, and then they use the book as a calling card. So which you can do the exact same thing, right? So
Mhm.
when you go to real estate investment club meetings or networking opportunities and stuff like that, instead of giving somebody a copy of your boring old business card, you give them a copy of your book, a physical copy of your book. And the holy shit factor is pretty impressive. It's like, holy crap, you wrote a book, and like there's the proof. It's not just telling him you wrote a book, but you give them a copy of your book. Extra points if you sign it and dedicate it for them. That really gets the
Good
wow
tip.
going. So one thing I would, just a quick tip I would recommend for you, is print out, you don't have to have a gazillion copies of them. Print out 10, 15, 20 copies of your book to give away to ideal potential partners, clients, consulting clients, those kind of people, real estate investment club execs and stuff, because this is a beautiful way for you to get the opportunity to speak on stages, jump on people's podcasts, all this kind of stuff. Because I agree with you, you've got a really good little niche going there. I've seen a gazillion books, trainings, and all that kind of stuff on how to flip or how to burr or how to do multifamily, but narrowing it down to like real, like nitty gritty rehab type stuff, I haven't seen a lot of that. So I think you're on a really good track there. And there's just so many ways you can leverage your book, my friend. Yeah.
100%. Like you said, it's the ultimate business card. And I think the point that I really want to drive home with is that the knowledge and skills that investors can gain from reading these books, especially ones that would be listening to your podcast, trying to raise capital, right, or attract joint venture partners, that these specific skills as an active investor, finding properties, crunching the numbers, and all that is very important as well. That's the front end, right? But the back end, on the execution part of it, it's all about having a track record, right? Of a proven track record that you can. This is my opinion. I mean, they could be limiting beliefs, but as far as attracting capital partners, right? If you have a track record of success, then your chances of them
raising capital,
joining is that much greater.
Much, much higher. The other beautiful thing about having a book, which when you start to leverage this even more, Michael, you're going to find, is it actually within your real estate investor career, it allows you to leapfrog over a lot of other people who have a hell of a lot more experience than you do, but they haven't learned how to promote themselves very well. So years ago, I remember a good buddy of mine, Ken, very accomplished real estate investor. He was kind of, he was the kind of the big dude in his little local real estate investment community, and he helped run a club, and he was the main speaker and all this kind of stuff. And he was coaching and training people. And I remember this many years ago, he said, he was kind of complaining to me. I said, what's going on, Ken? Because there's this young whippersnapper who he had actually trained. He had coached, he had trained. And this young guy went out and bought his first small multifamily property or whatever. And then he was starting to get all the attention. And my buddy Ken being human, was kind of, hey, what's going on here? I got a way more experience. I said, well, Ken, what did this guy do? He said, well, he wrote a book. So now people are inviting him on their, to speak at their events and all this kind of stuff. This kid doesn't really know that much. Everything he knows, I taught to him, kind of thing. So Ken had his nose out of joint. I said, Ken, there's a really simple solution to this. He said, what? I said, write a book, dude. So we did. He didn't really know what he was doing. So we joined forces, and I helped him write a book. So I get to have my little name on basically Ken's book, right? And voila, overnight, now he's back to where he should be, and then some, because now he's perceived as the authority that he was, because he had his book. So yeah, I think what you've done so quickly is absolutely brilliant. My hat's off to you. I love the fact that you've really narrowed it down to one specific niche. I love the fact that you brought all of your previous professional experience to the table, because that's what you did on a much bigger scale for many, many years. So yeah, you're bringing expertise, you're bringing credibility, you're bringing experience. Like you said, you had that epiphany when you're going through this thing with this other real estate investor, and you realized you knew the answers better than he did. So now you put that into a book, and now you can help other people with that. So Michael, if people want to connect with you, find out more, and maybe even get a hold of your books, where should they go? What should they do?
So they can go to realestaterehabbers.com, and on there they can find more information about me. There's some free resources that they can download there. There's a blog. If they want more information on my books, there's also a page there that they can take a look at that. And my social media links are there as well. So I would say realestaterehabbers.com is a place to go.
That's a pretty good URL. There you go, my friend. Good job. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much for jumping on the show.
Thank you, Dave. Much appreciated. And thank you for giving this opportunity to so many real estate investors to get their voices heard.
My pleasure, my friend. All right, everybody, take care, and we will talk to you on the next episode.